Hello, 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 everybody. You guys should be able to hear me and see me at this point. There is a chat box available. Do me a favor and just type yes in the chat box if you guys can hear me and you guys can see me. All right. It's 8 o'clock on the dot. I definitely like to start on time. Okay. So, yeah. All right. So, type in the chat box if you can hear me and if you can see me. Also, as you guys come in, put your name, your city, and your IG handle. Because if you guys are already learning from the same person, you have something in common. All right. And I'm all about Instagram here. So put your Instagram handle and you guys follow each other, get to know each other. Okay. All right. So usually I do a whole lot of PowerPoint slides, and I'm not going to do that today. I actually only had 10 slides. I usually have about 50, sometimes more, but today I only have 10 because this is going to be conversational. All right. I want you guys to interact. I want you guys to put your questions in the chat box as we're going along. Somebody give me a yes and let me know in the chat box that you can hear me and that you can see me before we jump on in. If you guys are new to Zoom, on the bottom of your screen, there should be a place there that says chat. And when you click that, the chat box will open up on the side. Perfect. Thank you, Pamela. All right. So we are going to begin. As I said, I really don't have a lot of slides. I have notes, a whole lot of notes, and I have about 10 slides just to keep me on track because I have a tendency of rambling on when I get excited, but that's it. So we're going to jump in. Let me open this up for you guys and make sure we're good. All right, perfect. And then once you guys can see the screen, just give me thumbs up or yes or one or something in the chat box that you can see the screen. All right. Perfect. We should be good. All right, guys, so let's jump in. Welcome, welcome, welcome to How to Go from No Book to Fully Booked. My name is Neola Phillip. If it's your first time seeing this face or being on one of my webinars, I'm really known for a lot of webinars. So I haven't done one since the year started. I'm really excited. My name is Neola Phillip. I'm a marketing and income strategist, and I work with female coaches, consultants, and service providers, teaching them how to create profitable marketing strategies for their business, okay? So when they come to me, usually they're struggling with honing in on their ideal client and packaging up their expertise. So that's what I help them do, and also set up systems in their business, all right? Today, we're gonna be talking about how to go from no book to fully booked. And at this point, I usually tell my story, right? Which most people do at the beginning of a webinar. Let me just check my chat box and make sure I'm not seeing anything here. Okay, good. Yeah, so most people will start off by telling their story. And I am going to tell a little bit of my story, but I'm not going to go all the way from when I first started like I normally do, which was 16 years ago, okay? I'm not going to go back then, but I'm going to start right when I decided to be a coach and decided that I wanted to teach Instagram marketing because that's where I started out at. And then I transitioned into branding, and now I'm doing more automations and income strategies, okay? So I started my coaching business about 3 years ago. And how I got into it was I was transitioning from network marketing, which, as you know, is very different from having a service-based business and you working for yourself versus you promoting someone else's products, right? So when I first started, I tried to promote my coaching business the same way I would a network marketing business, all right? And because my love for Instagram was there, I would just put out tips every day. I would put out a quote. I would use my expertise around social media. And my social media grew like crazy. But behind the scenes, I really wasn't getting paying clients, not the way I was supposed to. Here and there, people would reach out. I would do discovery sessions. A lot of times I got no shows. A lot of times I heard no's. And a lot of times I just had my calendar was empty. And it was because I wasn't asking for the consultation. At that point, I wasn't thinking about doing sales calls to get clients. I was more relying on social media, that if I put out these tips every day and if I do these YouTube videos, people are going to see my stuff and they're just going to automatically reach out to me and want to work with me. And that was not the case. It happened here and there, but who can really get by with here and there sales? Another thing is, back then, I was only charging by the hour. All right, so about $97 for the hour. Very afraid to get to the $197 or the $297 level. Just mediocre, because I wasn't seeing my expertise and my value. Okay, so a lot what we're going to talk about today is going to be all about that. And I didn't want to tell you my whole story and go in the whole business thing. Yes, I've had network marketing businesses, product-based businesses. I've had a storefront, a hair salon business, and now I'm a coach, right? I didn't want to go through all of that with you because I know that most of you on here right now, you just want to get coaching clients. You're just tired of working, you know, all night, so 2 in the morning, still having to get up early with your kids, and it's not happening. So the strategies that I'm going to give you today is going to be the exact strategies that I took within the last 18 months to build a 6-figure business, to be able to be fully booked and to be able to be fully booked with high-end clients. And that's just another cross that you have to bear, not only to get clients, but then to cross over to high-end. So we're going to talk about some of those things today, all right? I'm going to check the chat box real quick before I get started. I am not going to jump in this chat box as I'm speaking again, because I can ramble on and on and on, and you guys do not want to hear none of that, all right? So leave your questions at the end. We'll do a Q&A. Another thing is, if there's anything that you want, if there's anything that you want other than getting fully booked, if there's some things going on in your business that you're struggling with, also leave that in the chat box, because I'm going to be doing a Q&A tomorrow, and I definitely want to get a lot of your questions answered. All right, so let's jump on in. If you are a coach, a consultant, or a service provider and you're struggling with getting clients, you're definitely going to learn something new. All right, if you're someone that's feeling like you need more time, you need a bigger email list, you need more social proof before you can start promoting your coaching packages, then you're definitely going to learn something new. And if you're someone who you have a message to share, but the fact that you cannot get booked consistently is affecting you from showing up the way you really need to show up, then you're going to learn something new. And that's something that I struggled with. So if any of you are on here and you're struggling with that, trust me, I understand. When things were going on in my personal life financially, where I could not, you know, take care of my kids the way I want to, but I have to show up every day anyway, it was very hard. It affected me and it affected my business, right? A lot of times coaches feel like frauds because they may not be making the amount of money that they think they should be making before they can work with clients. And I really want to dead that today. If you guys are thinking that, we are going to get out of that thinking today, because that's not how the way it works. That's not how it works. As a coach, you learn as you grow. Okay, as a coach, you learn as you grow, and you're going to see how that happens. All right, so let's jump in. What you're going to learn today is the 3 C's that you must have before you can be fully booked. All right, you're also going to learn how I generate hot leads consistently. You're going to learn my automated pre-qualification strategy that I use to book clients. You're also going to see the simple funnel that generated $10,182 in 5 days. And you're going to learn how to get fully booked with a small list. All right, so let's jump in with the 3 C's that you must have before you can be fully booked. And the first C is clarity. Last week, I did a 3-part series on clarity. I have to touch on it again because every single coach I speak to, their problem that they have is usually in the beginning. Usually not having clarity around who they're speaking to, not having clarity around their messaging, and that is what affects their marketing, okay? So we're gonna start with clarity. And clarity for me means you need to be speaking to a specific group of people. Now, I'm going to reference this show, Blackish. I don't know if any of you guys watch the show. I do. And I love the show. It's with Anthony Anderson, and he works for a marketing company, right? And I want to say about 3 or 4 weeks ago, Chris Brown was a guest star on the show. They had a company that wanted to promote these products, but they were promoting to a certain demographic, right? And the first thing they did was they started to dig into their ideal client, but they weren't basic like most people do. The address, you know, what area they live in, what age they are they females or males? No, they were going really deep. And they were like, how would your people think? You know, as a Black person, if I was to answer this door and see that on the stairs, you know, we would just close the door. We wouldn't pick it up. And it was crazy to me how deep they were going with their ideal client. And then they decided they were going to use Chris Brown as the face to do the commercial to promote this product, right? Because he fit the demographic for this product. And when I saw that, I had to put it in today because that is how deep you guys need to go when it comes to deciding who your ideal client is. You need to give this person a name, and you need to really narrow it down to a specific group of people. So let's say you're in the health and wellness industry. I don't want you to say, well, I'm a health and wellness coach, and you know, I work with people who are looking to lose weight, because that can be so many people. Now, if you say to me, I'm a health and wellness coach, and I work with women who just had a baby, now I am paying attention, because if we want to put out a Facebook ad to promote your coaching program, we can decide to promote in obstetricians. We can target obstetricians because we know those people have the first contact with pregnant women, right? So that would be a great target that we can use to find your people. But the only way we can do that is if you were really narrowing down who your ideal client is to a specific group of people. Now I'm going to give you another example. All right. If you are, I had a client, matter of fact, I had a client, and she was in the beauty industry, and she wanted to move from being behind the chair to creating courses and coaching people. And I said to her, well, who is your ideal client? And she said to me, well, you know, people who want to do hair. And of course, that's something that I get a lot. But as we started digging into her story, and I started telling her, I need this person to be really specific. I need this person to be relatable to you. She started saying, well, you know, I think I want to target more salon owners who are struggling to bring clients into their business. Now that gives us something to work with, right? Because if we want to put out, again, a Facebook ad, and I'm going to use this, guys, because when you get to a certain point in your business, and when I show you the sales funnel, Facebook ads play a big part in bringing in consistent leads. We're going to talk a little bit about that, all right? Now, if we wanted to use the Facebook ad for this person, it will be easier now, right? Because for my client, I'm able to target salon owners. I can actually go into a Facebook ad and even target down to the zip code these salon owners reside in, right? So it is so important to really get clarity around who you are speaking to first before we can move ahead, all right? Now, the next thing that you want to do, which is the second C, is your content. Your content. And this is big for me because this is how I grew my community. Like I said, 3 years ago when I first started, I wasn't doing sales calls. I wasn't promoting myself the way I was supposed to. But what I was doing is I started off doing webinars. So that's why I said I'm known for webinars, right? So I started off doing these webinars and selling the replays for $15. That was my way to bring in money. Of course, I had no way to lead them into the next step, which was becoming my coaching clients. I was learning as I grow. Remember, guys, right? So when I first started, I focused on putting out valuable content. So I put out blogs. I did the webinars. I put out tips on social media every day. I did the YouTube videos, and I went like this for a whole year, where at the end of the year, I was full of content, but still not getting consistent clients. Now, once I got mentoring, and that is another thing that's so important, but we'll talk about that one too. Once I got mentoring, which allowed me to learn things that I didn't know and see gaps in my business that I didn't know was there, then I was able to set up a system. But if it wasn't for me having all that content, guys, you know what I would have been doing? I would have been sitting there creating every video from scratch, coming up with every program from scratch. And something that I need you guys to know as being a coach is your content is your program. All right, your content is your programs. So by putting out content, not only are you able to put together programs easily because you can pull from different content and then make it better, you're also able to analyze what your people like. You're able to analyze the topics that they gravitate to the most, what they really need help with. So when you are ready to start packaging your expertise and putting together these coaching packages, right? You are putting together packages that your people actually want. So the second C is putting out consistent content. And this is something that most new coaches struggle with, all right? And the reason why they struggle with this, so if this is you, one of the reasons why most coaches struggle with putting out content is because they don't know who they are putting out content for, all right? So that's why we start with the clarity, and now we move on to the content. I want you guys to type 1 in the chat box if you're following me. Give me a 1 in the chat box if you guys are following me. All right, perfect. Good, good, good. Thank you, thank you, thank you. All right, so if you are one of my coaches who are struggling with putting out content, I want to give you a strategy to use, and this is something that I use. And I want you to start with your voice. And what do I mean by that? If there is an article that you read and you really, really enjoyed, you can write about it. You can do a live stream about it. If there is a quote that you read in the morning that resonates with you, you can write about that. Content doesn't necessarily always have to be what you teach. Here is where we start building relationships with people. It's going to bring me into number 3, right? So I want you to start with your voice. If you guys started with 6 tips to growing your email list or 6 ways to detox, I want you guys to stop for a minute and start talking about your opinions. This is how you stand out, all right? This is how you stand out from everyone else who's teaching what you're teaching. And this is how you start with your voice, okay? Now, here's another example for you. After you start putting out content using your voice, then you want to start listing benefits of coaching with you, okay? So this is where I usually tell my clients, if you have a few people that you know is your ideal client and will be interested in working with you if you got a chance to speak with them, offer them a 15-minute discovery session, right? And then ask them for a testimonial in return, all right? And you want to start putting out these testimonials maybe once a week on your social media, where people are starting to see, wow, this is the benefit of what I would get if I was to work with this person. So that's number 2 when it comes to your content. It's not only about teaching, but it's also about showing people the benefits, selling without really selling. I want you guys to really think about this. If you were to see a paragraph of someone saying, well, I worked with Catherine and Catherine helped me Catherine helped me increase my sales within the first 60 days. Catherine helped me stand out from the crowd within the first 30 days. I had my program out and it was such a relief. What are you going to do versus Catherine actually telling you, you know, working with me, you'll be able to increase your sales within the first 60 days. You are more going to follow hearing it from someone else. So this is something that a lot of coaches don't think about. And if you guys are not doing that, then that's the next thing that I want you to start putting into your content from now. All right. Now, I'm going to tell you guys some of the ways that you can deliver this content. But before we do that, let's talk about the benefits of putting out consistent, valuable content. Number one, consistent content equals consistent leads. So I told you that I would let you know how I bring in consistent leads in my business. I bring in consistent leads by putting out consistent content. Consistent, valuable content that is really solving a problem for my clients. All right. Now, putting out valuable content also positions you as an expert. Putting out valuable content also helps you put together better programs. Remember, I said to you, as you analyze your numbers and as you see the type of content that your people gravitate to, then you will know where to base your programs from. All right, it gives you direction. Okay, another thing that it does, another thing that you should think about when you're putting out content is that it needs to support your services. So what do I mean by that? A lot of times I see coaches who maybe, let's say you're in the health industry and let's say you are a business coach, but you maybe are a health, you love health, so you put out pictures of food, you put out pictures of you being in the gym, you share a lot of health and wellness tips, even though you're a business coach. What this does, guys, especially if you're starting out and you're really trying to get fully booked, guys, what this does is it confuses people. When you put out your content, you want to make sure that your content is supporting your services. So if you're a business coach, then you want to put out content that is going to show people your expertise. That's why I started out putting tips, right? So maybe I didn't have all the full map of how to get fully booked at that time. But one thing I did right was putting out that content that really attracted these people to me. Now, here's the thing. When I first started, and this might be something you're dealing with as well. When I first started, I used to put out content as a social media and brand strategist, right? So I put out social media tips, I'll put out brand tips. I never really talked a lot about business, just mostly social media. And I would say that I worked with female entrepreneurs, okay? And it didn't work because what happened is I started to attract female entrepreneurs. And as I grew in my business and as I started to fill in these gaps, I realized that my expertise more lies with working with coaches. All right. Now, yes, I still do work with service-based entrepreneurs in the beauty industry because my background is in the beauty industry. But once I honed in on that specific group of people, which was coaches, I then started to put out content to target coaches. So do you see why it really matters that you narrow down that specific group of people so you can put out the content that's going to attract them to you? In order to get fully booked, guys, you have to have consistent leads coming into your business. And it doesn't always have to be through a digital download, okay? So here are some ways for you to, some ways that you can deliver your content. So you can do it through workshops, very similar like this, webinars, live workshops, live events, conference calls, blogging, podcasts, interviews, and I can go on and on and on. I hope you guys are writing this down. These are the ways that you deliver your content. Through delivering your content, people are attracted to you, right? And then we're going to get to the third part, which is the third C, which is they are attracted to you. And as they are attracted to you, you start growing your community. You will not be able to be fully booked if you do not have a community. And it doesn't have to be a large community, all right? As a matter of fact, the smaller the community, the more engaged they are. The smaller the community, the more in tuned and locked in they are to what you are doing. And the more you will be able to offer them what they need and give them that hands-on touch that most people want when they are looking to work with a coach one-on-one. Okay, so very important that you get those consistent leads coming into your business so you can start growing your community. All right, now let me get to my notes. All right, so as you grow your community, what you're doing is you are also growing your list and you're generating leads. Now, I wanted to talk about this a little further because I think that sometimes people mix up, generating leads. Generating leads doesn't always have to be getting emails, okay? Generating leads for us as coaches is also people who are interested in working with us one-on-one. So I'll give you an example. I went to speak at a conference not too long ago, and it was so good. Oh my goodness, it was so good. After the conference, I booked a few appointments, in-person appointments of some individuals that wanted to work with me one-on-one. All right, so we met and I landed 2 out of the 3 appointments that I booked. And when I did this, it was leads that I got. I did not get their email list. I did not give them a digital download. I was standing in front of them, speaking, doing a presentation for 25 minutes. And at the end of the presentation, I let them know that I'll be waiting by for any questions or if anyone wanted to talk with me one-on-one. So that's how I was able to get these leads. Guys, when you hear leads as a coach, it doesn't always mean growing your list. It means getting people interested so you can tell if they want to work with you or not. So let's say you spend most of your time on Facebook, right? And you maybe spend time in Facebook groups. And if you're marketing the right way in Facebook groups, then you're probably somebody who would give tips in the Facebook groups. You'll answer questions. You'll definitely take part in what's going on in the Facebook group. And as you do this, you start to get to know people, right? And the tips that you may put out in these Facebook groups, people start resonating with you. They get some help from these tips. And one person reaches out to you in your Facebook, private message, and they say, well, I've been using your tips. It's been working. And I think I need some help. How would I go about working with you? That's a lead. All right. The minute they book that appointment, they're a prospect. You get them on the phone and you close the sale. All right. We're going to talk about that next. Growing your community helps you generate leads. It does not always have to be growing your list. So I'm going to stop for 1 minute. I just want to check to see if I have any questions. Do you guys have any questions for me before I keep going? Any questions at all? Okay. So as a business owner, one thing you have to know is that your job is to build brand awareness, okay? Let's think of a big corporation like Walmart. Walmart, they do commercials, they send out circulars. There's a Family Dollar store that's really close to me. They do the same thing. They send out the circulars. That is their way of getting brand exposure. And for us as coaches who work online, our way of getting brand exposure is by putting out content to our community, okay? So your number one goal now that you narrow down on your ideal client, right? You're starting to put out content that they're going to resonate with and that they're going to be attracted to, right? You start growing your community, whether it's a Facebook group, whether it's a podcast you have, whether it's a group, some group program you do, a meetup, all right? That's another way that you can be growing a community locally. No matter which way you decide to grow your community, now that you do that, it's your job to engage so you can transfer these people into being your clients. Now, I hear a lot of coaches say, well, how can I turn my followers into customers? How can I especially with Instagram, how can I turn my followers into leads? So you do that through the content. But once you get them, guys, how are you going to get them on the phone with you? And that is by engaging with them. All right, so we're going to talk a little bit about how I was able to do that with my Facebook group, because this is the way that I'm going to suggest that you guys start growing your community really, really quickly. And when you look at the simple sales funnel that I use, I'm going to show you how I do that as well. All right, so I started my Facebook group the last quarter of last year. I was so focused on growing this group. I saw that it was working for some of my colleagues, and I decided that I wanted to start growing my group because what I noticed was that the larger my email list got, my numbers started to drop when it came to my open rates, okay? And that's something you guys will see, because face it, people are getting tons of emails all day. They are not necessarily opening emails as much as they used to, okay? Really, if you have a small list, you'll notice that more people are opening your emails. So I noticed that my numbers were dropping. I needed to find a way to get my community back close, knit, and engaged. So I decided to start a Facebook group, right? With this Facebook group, I decided to launch a course called PLR to the Rescue. This was at the end of last year. So true story, guys. Most of you probably are in my group and know this. I decided to launch only in my group, okay? Only in my group. So I really didn't do a lot of social media advertising. I did not do any type of Facebook ads for this launch. I just launched in my group and a few emails to my list with a webinar and an interview. Okay, that's how I launched this course. And through launching this course in my Facebook group, not only did I triple my Facebook group numbers before the year 2017 started, but I was able to fully fill out my PLR course. I was able to get more people into the other courses that I was given as a bonus. My community grew tremendously without Facebook ads, right? Without having that large list. Like I said, guys, I used the group and I only sent out a few emails with a webinar. That's it for this launch. And when it happened, that is when it really struck that I had to start teaching my people the importance really of connecting your content with your community. So if you guys open a Facebook group right now, you can actually start booking clients if you were to start going live in your group once a week, just once a week, teaching a lesson and offering people the opportunity to get on the phone with you and have a conversation, all right? So that is how easy it is when you start focusing more on building that community and engaging them as they come into your community, all right? Now, let's talk about my simple sales funnel. I told you guys this was going to be so conversational, very different from what I normally do. And I'm actually really enjoying this because I'm getting to talk from my experience and not just my slides. I'm really enjoying this. Tell me if you guys are enjoying this. All right, so we're going to talk about my simple sales funnel that I use, how I set it up, what I use to set it up, and how you can do this for yourself. All right, so the way I set up this simple sales funnel is with any funnel, you need a freebie to bring people in to the top of this funnel. If you do not know what a funnel is, guys, this is not really a beginner workshop. So I'm not going to really go too deep into it, but what you need to know about a funnel is that a funnel is going to allow you to bring in automated leads and automated sales into your business. A funnel is something that you put into work once you set it up with several programs and you have it running, whether it's Facebook ads or whether you're using social media. I'm going to talk about both with you. You set it up and it brings in sales for you. The importance, though, is that you have to know who you're speaking to when you do this, okay? So that's why we had to touch on that first. So with this simple sales funnel that I'm going to talk to you about, I was speaking to coaches. And the freebie that I used to bring people in was a webinar. The name of the webinar was How to Go from 1K to 10K in 30 days, okay? It was a workshop very similar to this. It was about 35 to 40 minutes. And at the end of the webinar, I offered the opportunity for people, for my guests to come on a strategy session with me. All right. But in order to get on the strategy session with me, they had to fill out an application. Okay. My pre-qualification strategy that I mentioned. All right. And with this application, I just asked several questions that allowed me to learn more about them, to learn more about where their mindset was with working with a one-on-one coach, because that is something that I struggled with. And you guys are probably struggling with this too, is that you get people on the phone, but they're not financially ready for a coach. So you spend your time a lot on the phone with people who are not ready. And it's not that you don't want to work with them, guys, what it is sometimes you have to give them a simpler product first, and that's why a funnel like this really works. So I'm going to show you how I did this. So at the end of the webinar, they had to fill out an application in order to get on the phone with me. But as we know, not everybody is going to fill out an application on the first go around, right? So for the people who did not fill out an application and did not schedule that strategy session with me at the end of the webinar, they were put into a 7-email sequence that went out over the time of 10 days, 11 days. So 7 emails went out over 11 days. And in these emails, I sent them tips and tricks to getting clients. I talk about discovery sessions. I talk about generating leads. At the end of each email, I offer a strategy session. So I want you guys to understand what I'm saying here. My goal is, number one, I'm talking to coaches. Number two, I'm offering strategy sessions. I'm not offering a course. I'm not offering a group coaching program. I'm not offering any type of live program. I have one goal. I'm speaking to one person and I have one goal. So this is how the simple funnel works. It has to have one person that you're speaking to and one goal that you want out of it. Simple. This is what every coach needs to start out with before trying to branch off into creating courses, or into doing group coaching programs as well. Now, did I do this? No. As a matter of fact, before I did this, I tried to create a course. I created a course called Build Your Brand Bootcamp, where I only got 2 people to join after launching the course. And if I can do it all over again, I wish that I knew these same strategies that I'm giving you today, because then I would have saved myself a lot of time. The reason why you want to implement this simple sales funnel in your business right now, guys, is because you need to start analyzing your people so you can really hone in on who you are speaking to and who you want to work with. This changes. Your ideal client changes as you grow in your business. Your ideal client changes with different products that you create, right? Because sometimes you may be speaking to a different group of people. So this is very important for getting fully booked out, is you need to be speaking to one person and you need to have one offer, which is a strategy session. That is it. They need to get on the phone with you. You need to give them your best tips. You need to help them out, and you need to let them know what the investment is to work with you. That's as simple as it gets. I want you guys to put a 1 in the chat box if you understand what I'm saying. That's as simple as it gets when it comes to creating a simple sales funnel in your business, okay? So again, it can be a webinar. It can be a digital download. I have another funnel. I wasn't even going to talk about this, but that's just to show you that I can ramble. I have another funnel that is the Grow Your List worksheet. A lot of the same, many of you probably saw it because I'm using Facebook ads for that one. And remember, I told you I'll tell you the difference between both. Okay. Well, with this simple sales funnel, guys, I was not using Facebook ads. With my 1K to 10K in 30 days webinar, I was only using my content. Okay, I have 6 pages on Instagram. I'm trying to remember, I just opened 2 more. I have 6 pages on Instagram. And what I did was I made all my bios send people to this webinar. And that is how I drove tremendous traffic to this webinar without using Facebook ads, okay? Now, I have another funnel set up in my business where I am using Facebook ads, okay? And the freebie that I used for that one was the Grow Your List worksheet. With this one, again, I'm targeting coaches, but I was focused more on the generating leads in the business side of things, right? So I wanted to use this worksheet. I did it a few months ago in my group. It worked so well. People loved it. So I went ahead and set up another funnel. This funnel is consistently bringing in leads and strategy sessions. This is how I stay fully booked. I told you guys I was going to be completely open and transparent about this. This is how I stay fully booked, even if I am not using Facebook ads. Okay? putting out content, offering the strategy session, bringing the individuals on the phone. Now, one of the things that I do, which a lot of coaches don't really agree with this, but I do, okay? And I believe in giving the best content first. I don't believe in mention on content. I don't believe in giving you, the half of the story and then you have to finish and try to figure all of it out. Because to me, that is how you stay not booked, okay? Because you need people to know that you know what you're doing. So I believe in giving the best value first. So when you want to choose that front end free offer, that's a freebie that you're going to put in the beginning of your funnel, you want to make sure that it's your most valuable. You want to make sure that it's solving the most immediate problem that your client has, okay? So let's say, I'm going to give you an example. Let's say you are a life coach and you work with individuals who suffer with a traumatic background. Something traumatic happened in their background and you help them get over their past. Let's say that's what you focus on. But I want to go even deeper. Let's say your specific group of people is single moms. So single moms that has had something traumatic happen to them in their past. As a coach, you may know that the first thing they need to do is face it. So maybe they may need to write down a list of a story. Maybe they need to start journaling and getting it out of them. I'm not a life coach, so I'm making this up as I'm sitting here, right? So maybe that's what you need them to do first before they can end up working with you at a later date. That is what you want to make your freebie be on, okay? That is the topic you would want to go with. Type 1 in the chat box if you understand what I mean when I say you want your freebie to solve the most immediate problem that your client has. The most immediate problem. Okay, boom. Good, good, good. Thank you, Stephanie. Good. Okay, so simple as that. Simple as that when it comes to setting up a sales funnel in your business. Now, when I took these steps, what happened to me, and I'm going to show you guys the numbers. Let's look at the numbers. What happened to me is I was able to book 10 calls, and out of those 10 calls, I closed 6. All right. Now, with my payment plan for the program that I was promoting at the time, the payment plan was $1,697 a month for 3 months. And I was able to book 6 out of 10. And that is how I was able to do $10,182 in 5 days. Now, that was shocking to me because I have been able to do that in a month. But to do that in a week is crazy, right? It's crazy. And the way that happens is with the exact funnel that I just shared with you. Being able to bring those people into the webinar. When I seen this happen, guys, I automatically went ahead and set it up on a sales funnel using Facebook ads. Now I have anywhere from 30 to 40, 45 leads going into this funnel every single day. Every single day. I've actually also closed down 3 days on my calendar that I bring in, that I do strategy sessions, okay? Because you need your time to work with clients, right? And another thing you have to think about when I say look at the numbers, okay? And this is actually really important, so make sure you guys are writing this down. You have to analyze how much leads you got to know, like, I want to say this where you guys can understand. You have to know how much leads came in versus how much calls you booked. I hope I said that right. Type 1 in the chat box if you guys understand what I'm saying. You have to know how many leads. Let's say you're doing a 30-day check. Okay, I like to call this your analyze period. And this is where you are just putting out the content, you're throwing people in the top of this funnel, and you're recording your numbers. Every week, you're putting down how much leads you got. This is something that you want to do for 30 days straight. Now, out of the amount of leads you got, you want to see how much calls you book. Now, here's where it gets beautiful, guys. Look at my numbers. Hold on. I got 126 leads that week in that 5-day period. Out of 126 leads, I booked 10 calls. And out of those 10 calls, I closed 6 new clients. All right. Now, if I want to make 20,000 for the month, what do I have to do? Tell me in the chat box, what do I have to do? Now that I know those numbers, if next month I want to make 20,000, okay, what do I have to do? And I know you got close 12, but how many leads am I going to need? Double the amount of leads. Exactly. 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 You guys are understanding what I'm saying. When it comes to being fully booked, guys, it's not only about getting people on the phone, but it's also about paying attention to what's happening with your people, paying attention to the type of content they're attracted to, paying attention to, you know, the freebies that they like the most, paying attention to how they are when they get on the phone with you. When you ask them what are they struggling with? What can you help them with today? Writing these things down, analyzing your numbers. This is how you get fully booked. It is so simple. I know that sometimes people feel like, well, you know, you're looking at workshops like this, you're looking at webinars like this, and you're feeling like, well, you have a community already. You've been doing this for 3 years. Remember, guys, 3 years ago, I didn't have this community. 3 years ago, you know, We Win Movement, which is my women's empowerment company, wasn't even started, right? 3 years ago, I didn't even have a Facebook group. So it starts with beginning, knowing who your ideal client is, and just beginning to deliver your content out there and get people on the phone so you can book these strategy sessions. It is really that simple. Now, the last piece of this puzzle is once you start and you see the consistent flow of leads coming, you see that you're getting people booking these strategy sessions with you, then you need to automate it. So once I was able to see the type of numbers I was bringing in without Facebook ads, guys, I had to automate this. I had to start throwing the leads in faster. What did you guys say? Double the leads, right? What did you guys say? Double the amount of calls that you close. I had to throw them in faster. So a lot of time you're watching other coaches and they're using these Facebook ads and you're like, you know, I want to go use these Facebook ads too because this is going to bring me more people. But we're missing these important steps that I'm speaking to you about tonight. We're missing these important steps, which is why a lot of times it's not working. You really got to hone in on who you're speaking to. You really have to hone in on that content, making it consistent, and you really have to start doing sales calls. How many of you are doing sales calls right now? If you're doing sales calls, type yes or no in the chat box. And if it's no, that's all right. That's all right. That's why you're here, so you can learn. Yes, how has it been going for you, Stephanie? I would love to know. No. Okay, Monica, so we know what we have to do. We have to start offering these sales calls so that way people can get on the phone and you can talk to people. You know, you're easily going to get the clients when people can be on the phone with you, right? When they can see you. I use Zoom for my calls. Sometimes they see me, sometimes they don't, but they hear me. We have a conversation. I get them talking about some of their struggles, you know, and this is what you need to do if you want to get clients. This is what you have to do. Could be better. So if it could be better, I want you to use some of these strategies, because a lot of times what's missing is maybe the way you're bringing in leads is not, you know, it's not, we're missing something there. Or maybe we have not honed in on that specific group of people that you're speaking to, so we're missing something there, right? Another thing is that pre-qualification strategy that I spoke to you guys about. Very important. So you have to bring your people through a qualification strategy. I told you guys that I would have a free gift for you for showing up live. You guys are going to get my qualifying leads questions that I use for my strategy. So you guys are going to get that as a gift for showing up live. That is what you need to bring your client through before they get on the phone with you. You guys get what I'm saying? This is the only thing I hate about Zoom, is having to keep opening up the questions. Okay, Dia, question. When you do a pre-sales questionnaire and someone says they cannot invest in coaching on the questionnaire, do you or should you still do the sales call? Very, very good question. So this can go both ways. I'll talk to you about how I do it, okay? So first of all, I research people. If you don't, start doing it now. So when someone fills out an application, with me, I ask them for their, their links. I ask them for their website. I ask them a little bit about their business, and I research them before I even give them my link for them to book an appointment with me, okay? I'm able to see where they are at. And for me, because I know who my ideal client is so well to the T, I can tell by their social media if they're ready for me or if they need to get in one of my courses, okay? If it's someone that needs to get in one of my courses, a lot of times I will offer them a 15-minute discovery session instead of giving them the 45-minute strategy session, all right? And that's just because, guys, time is money. That's just real. Time is money, right? And you want to make sure that you are helping, not wasting people's time. If you know that not only do you not want to waste their time, but you don't want to waste yours. And if you know that they are not ready for your coaching, there might be something that you can advise them to do that will help them get to that point, and they will appreciate you more for that, okay? So most of the times I will offer them a 15-minute discovery session instead of the strategy session. Now, if it's somebody who said that they don't have a business, because that's one of my questions that I ask is, do you have a business, and how much is it bringing in a month right now? And from that question, I already know if you are my ideal client or not, because most of my clients, they're already to a certain point. They're already doing webinars. Most of them are already doing, getting leads. They just have not been able to bring in consistent clients. They don't have that it factor that they need to get the right people over to them. So at that point, I'm like, no, unfortunately, I cannot do, unfortunately, there are some things that you're going to need to do first. I advise you to, and I will give them, what they need. And I go into depth. I spend time on it. It doesn't matter if someone, to me, I feel like it doesn't matter if you become my client or not. I want you to go away knowing something. And that is another way to get fully booked, guys, because people will watch you for a long time and they will get the help. And when they are ready, sometimes people are really just not financially ready, really. And when they are ready, they're going to come to the person that helped them. So I may not get on the phone with them, but by all means, I am going to help them. Do you understand what I'm saying, Dia? Okay, great. So any more questions, guys? Any questions for me before we talk a little bit about this qualification process? Can we go back to your experience as a social media consultant? When you completed the strategy or discovery session, do you go right to signing them up or send a proposal? I'm old school, I do proposals, but wonder if that's a hindrance. Yes, it's a hindrance. Yes, it's a hindrance, okay? If you listen, here's the thing, okay? Let's talk about this, because this is actually a really good question. Yeah, it's a hindrance. You want first of all, most of the time, I get the sale, I get the first payment before I get off the phone. Because here's the thing, if you give people the opportunity, especially women, especially us, if you give us the opportunity to think about it, we will find every reason in the book to not move ahead. And if you are the passionate coach that I know you are, then do not give your people a reason to think about it. When you get them on the phone and you're speaking to them, after you listen to their struggles, after you give them a few tips, tell them, how they can set some things up to help them in their business, and you say, well, now that you heard all of this, how would you feel about working with me? Are you ready? Yes? Okay. Well, this is the investment. That's it. And I know you guys are probably on the other end like Niala, really? Really? That is it. The investment is, let's say you have a $9.97 package, which I hope you don't. If you're a coach, definitely raise your prices if you're at $9.97. Again, if I knew this then, I would have a long time ago, because low ball prices means low ball value. Low ball prices means, are you sure you know what you're doing? Right? So let's say you are doing a $9.97 package, right? At this point, you want to say, so now that you've heard all of this and you see how easy it's going to be for us to work with each other, and you say you're ready, the investment is $9.97. Are you ready for that today? Simple. We are not, oh, well, I'm going to email you a proposal and then I'll follow up with you later. Because I guarantee you that's probably why you would get the no's. This just happened to me. I had the call, sent the detailed proposal, never heard from her again. Right. First of all, most people don't even read a long proposal. The only time I give out proposal is if I'm working with a corporate company, or if I'm working with someone who is like, I just landed a politician here in Philadelphia that I landed at a speaking engagement. See, guys, how easy it is, right? And I didn't know she was a politician. As a matter of fact, she's a daycare owner. And I met her at a conference that I spoke at. We had a strategy session a few weeks ago. I sent her a proposal because through speaking to her, there were other things that she needed in terms of management, brand reputation, PR. There's other things that she needed, and she wanted me to handle it all, which means I had to get quotes from different things because I don't do all of that, right? So I had to give her a proposal. But if it's a one-on-one client, you shouldn't be doing proposals. I used to too. Don't feel bad. Stop it now. Give them your price on the phone, and that is it. You understand? If they have any objections, then you talk about those objections. All right? I'm coming from corporate and thinking the same strategy would work. Right. So we know in corporate, we need to have that proposal, because in corporate, they're usually going through a chain of commands, right? So there's a few people that needs to look at that proposal before that proposal gets approved when we're talking about corporate. But you are a brand, right? And as a personal brand, we connect with people through our experiences. We connect with people through our attitudes, you know, how they resonate with us as they watch us live stream or as they listen to our audios. That is how we connect with people, right? So when you get on the phone with them, you are talking to them. This is your chance to get them as a client, not waste time with proposals. So let's talk about the qualification process. So the reason why we have to take our people through, I'm actually getting the dry mouth right now. Give me 1 second, guys. Okay. So the reason why we need to bring people through a qualification process is, number one, it weans people out who are not ready. See what I was telling you about? Sometimes you get a lot of no-shows, you get a lot of no's, and if that's happening to you, it's probably because you're not bringing them through a pre-qualification process, or your pre-qualification process is not strong enough. It's not asking the right questions that need to evoke a psychological emotion there, okay? Another reason why you need the qualification process is because it gets your prospect mentally ready to hear an offer, okay? So, full disclosure, today I am not offering you guys a course. I am not selling anything here, but I am going to give you guys the opportunity to book a strategy session with me so we can see how I can help you further beyond this workshop, okay? Very simple. When you bring people through a qualification process, you want them to know straight off the bat, this is an offer. You understand? Like, you know, a lot of times that's the reason why you're not getting the client, is because you're not being straight up about it. People who want help, they are very prepared to hear an offer. People who book strategy sessions are very prepared to take the next step. It's your job to just help them. But they're very prepared, else they would not book that strategy session. Now, if you are getting a lot of people who are no-shows and who are booking, right, but they're not the right people, then you got to go back to the basics and you got to figure out, do I have that one specific group of people that I'm speaking to? And do I have that specific message? Like, do they know that I'm speaking to them? Because that is where the gap would be. Okay, another thing that the pre-qualification process does for you is it helps you collect information you may need to drop some gems during the free strategy session. So you may not have ever heard this before, but that is my tip, how every strategy session, whether I get the client or not, I am getting the bomb testimonial, all right, because I am going to drop gems. And the only way I can do that is if I know these questions, if I know some of this information, like what are they struggling with, or how much money are their business making a month? You know, the questions are going to be a little bit different for you, but I am going to give you the questions that remain the same for no matter what coach what type of coach you are. Okay. All right, so let me see if I have any questions. I'm so excited that I was able to do a workshop like this. I've never, ever done this before. I'm always behind my slides. Do you guys have any questions for me at all? Any questions? And yes, I am going to send you guys over the the qualifying leads worksheet so you guys can set up your questionnaire. Okay, this was awesome. The pre-qualification questionnaire is going to be a game changer. Yes, it is. It definitely is. Thank you, Monica. All right, so what I'm going to do for you guys right now is I'm going to give you the link for my calendar. Definitely. Now, let's talk about what I specialize in, okay, guys? Because, again, we don't want to waste your time, right? So let's talk to you about what I specialize in. I specialize in working with coaches and consultants who are transformational coaches, okay? So people who are not really so focused on just the courses, but they really, really want to work with people one-on-one, all right? I specialize in marketing and income strategies, okay? So yes, I do have a team that can help with the branding. Yes, I love branding, but my focus is more marketing and sales, okay? Automating your business, setting up sales funnels in your business, so that way you can leverage your time. For me, that is what I was missing in my business. I mean, I cannot tell you guys how much I worked. I was frustrated. I was tired. I was until 4 in the morning. I literally used to get like a migraine a week that my body would shut me down, where I had to sleep for like 1 day a week just to get better, because that's how overworked I was. And setting up systems in my business has really, really helped me, which is why I've transitioned my coaching business into helping individuals do the same thing. All right. So if you really want to set up systems in your business, if you really want to know how to hone in on your messaging, then you definitely want to click that link and book a strategy session with me. All right. Okay. So it doesn't look like if I have any more questions. Remember, guys, I am going to do a live Q&A tomorrow. So if you guys have any questions other than even coaching, you know, maybe it can be some business questions, some social media questions, I want you guys to send me an email or post it in the Divapreneurs chat box, all right? So that way I can get your questions answered in the Q&A, all right? Let me give you guys that link right now. All right, boom. So you guys should be okay. I want to thank you all for joining me. I really did have a wonderful time. I thought that I was going to be a little bit uncomfortable because you guys know me. For those who've been following me for a long time, you know that I love my slides. It protects me. But no, this was great. I really did enjoy this. Did you guys enjoy this? Type yes in the chat box if you enjoyed this one-on-one conversational kind of thing. Do you feel like you get to learn a little bit more than just looking at some slides? You know what I mean? Yes, yes. Okay, great. So I'm going to do some more workshops like this because I feel like that was one of the things that I want to change for this year with myself. I have to practice what I preach. So this is my way of practicing what I preach. So I'm going to definitely do some more workshops like this. All right. So I want to thank you guys for joining me again. Leave your questions in the chat box. Leave your questions in my email or in the Divapreneurs chat box. I am going to do a live Q&A tomorrow so I can get those questions answered for you. And again, you have the link so you can book a strategy session if you feel that you are ready to have someone to help you one-on-one in your business. All right. Thank you for spending this time with me, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. Bye.